Welcome inside the W.B. Mason Coach Report here on Hofstra.W.B. Tom Verdi, joined by the head coach of the Hofstra wrestling team, Rob Anspach. Coach, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Now, Coach, team coming off the Southern Scuffle down in Chattanooga, finished 9th with 58 points, same spot as last year. How do you feel about that result?
A little disappointed with the way we performed overall. We had some guys that did well, and some other guys I was looking for a better performance out of them. So, not particularly happy with the way we wrestled, but we have some time to correct our mistakes and keep moving forward and try and improve for the end of the year.
Now you look at three guys wound up placing for you. Ben Clymer, maybe the most impressive story, falls in round one before battling all the way back, winds up finishing in 4th place, jumps from not ranked up to 13th in the national rankings now. CIA rest of the week, what did you see out of him?
Yeah, I thought Ben was one of those guys that he did wrestle well. Obviously, we were a little disappointed with the way he started the tournament off, losing his first round match. But then he showed a lot of character, a lot of heart wrestling, winning 7 straight matches, coming back and finishing up 4th. Along those lines, he beat a kid that he's never beaten. We lost to him at Nationals the year before. We lost to him at the Las Vegas Invitational this year. So for him to beat Robertus from Navy was a very, very solid win. And then to follow that up with a win over John Fozzie from Virginia was another good win for Ben. And he really seemed to be wrestling well throughout the tournament. After we got rid of that first match, he did a nice job. And even the match he then lost to Steinhaus, who's a returning All-American, was probably one of the better matches I've seen him wrestle. So I was very happy with his performance and effort, minus that first match.
And then you look at a guy like PJ Gillespie at 165, winds up advancing all the way to the semifinals, and he drops 2 matches on day 2. Were you a little bit surprised to see that from PJ?
Yeah, I thought, we knew the semifinal match was going to be a very good match. He had wrestled Jan from Minnesota the year before. He had beaten us, but we expected PJ to go out there and win that match. And he was one of the guys that I don't think wrestled up to his potential this weekend. We talked about it. He knows that we have to make some corrections. His weight was a little bit out of control, and I think that really affected the way he went out there and performed. And if you want to beat the best kids in the country, you can't have anything go wrong. Your weight can't be out of control, and you have to dictate the pace. And he didn't do that this weekend, and he lost to 2 guys that were winnable matches.
And you look at a guy like Steve Manano, finishes 6th, winds up dropping a couple of matches to both ranked wrestlers. But was this a tournament where you thought Steve could make a run as well?
Yeah, we were looking at the matchups, and we knew we were going to have a tough match with Snyder in the quarterfinals. He's a very funky wrestler. It's just kind of not our best style matchup. But going out there, I thought we did a very nice job wrestling him. We didn't get the win on the first night. And then we came back and we lost to Pirelli again, who is a guy that we've struggled with, but we're always so close to beating. We just got to find a way to beat him. And then I think for me, the biggest match was the second time we wrestled Snyder. We jumped out to a 4-0 lead against him. Seemed like we were going to put the match away, and we stopped wrestling. And that's pretty uncharacteristic of Steve, especially this year, a guy that's been really our most consistent wrestler, I believe, to this point. For him to not finish the match was a little disappointing. We talked to him about it, and he understands it. It's a hard lesson to learn, but moving forward, I think it's one that we can build off of.
You had a couple other guys still wrestling on day 2. Jamie Franco and Paul Snyder had both reached the quarterfinals. What did you see out of those 2 guys?
Well, I thought day 1 they wrestled really well. To reach the quarterfinals, Jamie had a great match. In the second match, he had beaten the guy. He won, but he had to come back to do it. He fell behind early, was able to get a couple takedowns late in the match, which is great confidence going forward. The next match he wrestled, I think we kind of got taken by surprise a little bit. We didn't know much about the kid. He was a freshman and very funky, and we just weren't really prepared going in there for Jamie. He needed to be a little bit more solid, but we got into way too many scramble situations, and we lost him. But then the next day, we came back, we wrestled the Oregon State kid fairly well. I thought we could have definitely did better. We started wrestling better at the end of the match. The problem is we started off way too far behind. So he's a guy that needs to get ready for every single match, and he wasn't on day 2. Now Paul, I feel the rest did the same thing. First day, he wrestled great, winning his first two matches. He wrestled the #1 seed. He ended up getting pinned, but he was very competitive in the match. He was out there wrestling. The guy's ranked 3rd in the country. We had wrestled him before, so I wanted to see how Paul, it was a gauge for us from last year to this year. and he was being very competitive. He's being offensive. He ended up getting caught in a bad position and getting pinned, but I like the effort he put in throughout the match. The second day we came out, and I don't think we had the same effort. And we lost to a guy that I feel we were better than. And we need to correct those things about when the guys get on the mat, being ready, being focused every single time they step out there and giving their best effort. And some of the guys didn't do that this weekend.
Justin Ecardino was another guy who wrestled on day 2. We talked about him kind of building some confidence again and getting back to that wrestler that you know he can be. How would you rate his performance for the 2 days?
Same way as I would throughout the season. He's been, some matches I watch him, I go, he's very good, and some matches he's not. It was, you know, it was nice. Tom Schiffer was down there this year because he had started the tournament. I was talking to him quite a bit, and he kind of reminded me that Justin's missed 2 years with his knee injury, and he might not have that confidence in his knee to do it. And you see that. I think that's one of his biggest things. The confidence in the knee, the confidence in the matches, because when you're hurt for 2 years, you're not getting better. For 1 year, he was not able to wrestle and not get better, not improve. And so we're seeing some of those inconsistencies that you kind of expect to see with younger guys, even though he's older, but as far as how many matches he has, he's relatively pretty young in his college career. So we're seeing those and trying to work through those. And Tom gave me a pretty nice reminder of that this weekend.
And then another group didn't have anybody wrestling at 157, I believe, due to injury. And then you look at a guy like Jermaine John, who not exactly his best stuff, and also 197 had Tim Murphy wrestling. So, you know, how do you rate that other group in terms of just trying to get those guys some experience?
Yeah, I think Jermaine is kind of falling into a rhythm here where he's I don't want to say he's accepting losing, but he's not very confident in what he's doing out there right now. And you can see when he goes out there, he's very hesitant when he's wrestling, and he needs to come into the room and just keep going back to the things that we saw the first weekend when we liked his performance. And he's gotten away from that. He's gotten away from attacking. He's gotten away from riding guys and really not attacking in the first part of the match. He's waiting till the end of the match when he's behind to start doing these things. And we need him to get out there and get to a faster start. And you know, if he does that, he still has a lot of potential. I said he's still young. He's still kind of learning how to wrestle at this level, this Division I level, where everybody's good. And if you allow them to control the match, they're going to beat you. It's not like high school anymore where you can pull out those matches. So he's still learning through that. We're trying to get him better at it, but he definitely needs to pick up his level of intensity out there, or else he's going to have a long season.
Coming up, you look first conference match coming up against Drexel on Sunday. Coach Acevedo replacing longtime Coach Childs over there. What do you see from a Drexel team like that?
Well, we saw them out at Las Vegas, and the thing I was most impressed is they just seem to be a little bit tougher right now. They, you know, Coach Azevedo's done a great job, I think, instilling a mentality. You know, he was obviously very successful up at Cornell. He came from a very good program up there, and he expects to win, and that's starting to carry over to his guys as well, that they're starting to get that mentality of winning. We look forward to it. This is a first conference match. These guys, at the end of the day, we're going to be competing against them for spots at the national tournament. So I'm looking for this weekend for us to go out there and make a statement in every single match that we're going to go out there, we're going to compete for 7 minutes, we're going to wrestle hard, so that when we do see them later on in March, they know they can't wrestle with us. And you know, that's the statement we want to drive home on Sunday.
Now, from a coaching standpoint, do you approach the conference match any different from, say, a match against a team like Army or even like a tournament?
No, I mean, you know, you got to go out there with the same mentality. You don't want to change it for whoever you're wrestling, whether you're wrestling the #1 team in the country or the worst team in the country. You got to go out there and stick to the things that you're going to do. Because if you don't do those, anybody can beat you at this level. The guys are too good for you to take a match off. And I don't look at, oh, you get really getting excited about this match, or we talk more about it. You know, some guys don't respond very well to that. They get more pressure. They feel a little bit more nervous. We want guys to do is just go out there and compete the way they're capable of, wrestle up to their potential, and they're going to be okay. I don't think we've seen that level from this team yet up and down the lineup. So hopefully this Sunday we can put that effort together, and it'll be an impressive win.
Is that something you're still also trying to get out of your team, is really a full performance from the full lineup?
Yeah, I mean, we're in search of that, you know, for each individual a perfect match, and from the team a perfect match. I don't think you're ever going to get there, but that's the goal, to try and be perfect on everything. I mean, we can always take, whether we win or we lose, we can take good things and bad things from each one, and we can learn from them. It obviously makes it a lot easier to learn when you win. makes it better. But we can definitely improve on everything we do and try and get a total team performance. And if we just focus on each individual, that kind of helps the team.
All right, Coach Rob Anspach, thanks for joining us inside this week's edition of the W.B. Mason Coach Report here on GoHofstra.com.
Thank you.